coplanar lines, they're on the same plane, they do not intersect. Gentlemen, ready? Okay. This first slide is not on there. We just talked about parallel lines not intersecting. This is how you mark lines parallel. You put little triangles on them. Another one, I call them feathers. Sometimes I just put the feathers on there to show that they're parallel. Why do we have this? Because just like angles, I can't mark them congruent. Sometimes when I draw lines, they don't look parallel, but once I put the markings on them, then they're parallel. Just like how my angles don't always look congruent, but once I put the congruent symbols in there, then they're congruent. Okay? So for lines to be parallel, if it doesn't say it, but they're marked, then they're parallel. Either triangles or feathers, whatever you want to call them. Transversal. This is your first vocab word. A transversal is a line that intersects at least two other lines. A transversal intersects at least two other lines. A lot of the time, transversals, we look at them in relation to intersecting parallel lines, but they don't have to be parallel, so don't get hung up on that second sentence. You just need to know that a transversal is a line that intersects at least two other lines. Okay? I have two parallel lines because of the markings, and then here's a transversal because it's intersecting both of them. There's another transversal. It's intersecting both lines. There's a third transversal. It's intersecting both lines. So a transversal just intersects at least two other lines, if not more. Jack? Right. Yep. These two don't have to be parallel, but they can be. Actually, if I look at this, line 1, line 2, this would also be a transversal because it's intersecting those two lines, but the red ones are not parallel. Correct. So it just has to intersect at least two lines. When you have two lines and one transversal, you get different types of angles, different ways I can classify them. So not only are you going to talk about congruent and supplementary and complementary angles, we have more classifications. The first one we're going to talk about are corresponding angles. Careful, I don't have these in order, so you need to read carefully. Corresponding angles are a pair of angles that occupy the same position. Corresponding angles, pair of angles that occupy the same position. They occupy the same position in relation to the transversal and the two lines. So in my picture here, we'll call this T, the transversal, and I'll call this line, I don't know, J, and this line K. So JK, T is the transversal, it's intersecting the two lines. Angle A is to the right of the transversal and below line J. Angle C is to the right of the transversal and below line K. They're both to the right and below. They're in the same position. If you want to look at the four corners, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're both in that bottom right corner of the intersection. Corresponding, they're in the same location. They correspond in locations. If I place B up here, D, it's corresponding, buddy. Would it work to put them left of C? No. Vertical to C? Is B corresponding with D then? They're the same color, but are they in the same location? B is to the right and D is to the left, so that would not work. If I put D above C, are they corresponding? Now they are. They're both to the right of the transversal and above the two lines. Or if you look at the intersection, they're both in that top right corner. Angle F. If F is vertical to D, its corresponding buddy H needs to go where? Vertical to B, left of A, yeah. They're both to the left of the transversal below the two lines. They're in that bottom left corner. If I put E vertical to C, then G must go vertical to A. Okay. Next to your word corresponding, to the left of it, put your abbreviation for corresponding angles. That's how I abbreviate corresponding angles. Just the C and the angle symbol. Do you see on the top right corner of your note packet how you have lines L and M intersected by transversal T? And you have 8 angles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See that? Top right corner. Okay, look at it and find me a pair of corresponding angles on your paper. Ben, 6 and 2. You guys agree with him? Maddie, you got another one? You guys agree with her? 1 and 7? Okay, what's another pair of corresponding angles? 5 and 4, you guys agree? Must mean 3 and 8 have to be the last pair. Dawson? 3 and 6? Okay, Dawson, they're both to the right of the transversal, but one's above the line and one's below it. When they correspond, they have to be in the same positions. Like they both have to be below or they both have to be above. Do you see that? 3 would correspond with 8. Next pair of angles that come from 2 lines in a transversal are called alternate interior. Read carefully. Alternate interior is the one below transversal on those blanks. You're filling in the second blank. Okay. Alternate interior angles are non-adjacent interior angles that lie on opposite sides of the transversal. Non-adjacent interior angles on opposite sides of the transversal. Alternate interior. Cross off the word exterior or interior. Cross off the word interior and exterior. Okay, non-adjacent, what's non-adjacent mean? Not touching, not next to each other. What do you think of when you hear the word interior? Inside, good. And how about the word alternate? Opposite, right? That's what we have right here. Alternate sides, every other, opposite, okay? So alternate interior angles have to be non-adjacent, they can't touch. They're on the inside of the 2 lines, and they're on opposite sides of the transversal. Interior, inside. So if I put A inside of the 2 lines there, then its alternate interior buddy C has to be on the opposite side of the transversal. So since A is on the left, C has to be on the right. Here's a pair of alternate interior angles. Opposite sides of the transversal, inside of the 2 lines. B and D. There's your other alternate interior angles. Because they're not adjacent. They aren't next to each other. Okay? Abbreviation for alternate interior angles, AI angles. AI angles. Alternate interior. Go back to your picture in the top right corner of your notes. You have 8 angles there. We have 2 pairs of alternate interior angles. Raise your hand if you can identify a pair of alternate interior angles in your picture. Jacob? 1 and 2. Good. Angle 1 and angle 2 would be an alternate pair. Rashid? Yes. And angle 3 and angle 4. On your note paper, in the top right corner, angle 1 is an alternate interior angle with 2, and 3 is an alternate interior angle with 4. Alternate, opposite, interior, inside of the 2 lines. Okay, to the next pair. Alternate exterior angles. Make sure you find it on your paper. These are non-adjacent exterior angles that lie on the opposite sides of the transversal. Alternate exterior. Non-adjacent exterior angles on the same or on opposite sides of the transversal. What does the word exterior mean? Outside. Good. Interior is inside, exterior, outside. So these guys are going to be outside of the two lines. Alternate still meaning opposite sides of the transversal. So here is line T, my transversal. Angle F, if he's going to be an alternate exterior, he has to be on the outside of those two lines. H, its alternate buddy, has to be on the opposite side of the transversal. So if F's on the left side, then H has to be where? On the right side. And they're non-adjacent, so they're not going to be next to each other. There's a pair of alternate exterior angles. G, if I put him adjacent to H, outside of the two lines, left of the transversal, then J has to be right of the transversal and on the outside. Alternate exterior. Can you guess the abbreviation for alternate exterior? AE angles. On your note paper, you have 8 angles in the top right corner that are created by 2 lines in a transversal. Raise your hand if you can find a pair of alternate exterior angles. Maddie? 5 and 8. Excellent. Angle 5 and angle 8 in the top right corner of your notes are alternate exterior angles. Kugler? Good. And angle 6 and angle 7. Alternate exterior. All right, 2 more types of angles to classify. Same side interior angles. Same side interior angles. Interior angles, so inside of the 2 lines, that lie on the same side of the transversal. Okay, make this note-taking easy. Anytime the word angles is there, put the angle symbol in. You don't need to write out transversal or write trans or trans V. Same side interior angles. Interior, inside. So they have to be between the 2 lines. Same side means now they're going to be on the same side of the transversal. So if T, my transversal, I'm going to put A on the right side of it, then C has to be on the right side of it because they're on the same side. Interior means they have to stay between the 2 lines. So angle A and angle C, that's a pair of same side interior angles. If B is adjacent to C, then D is going to be adjacent to A so that they're same side interior. Same side of the transversal, inside of the 2 lines. Abbreviation for same side interior? SSI angles. In the top right corner of your notebook paper, you have 8 angles. I need a pair of same side interior. Sarah? Good. Angle 3 and angle 2 would be same side interior angles. JC? And angle 1 and angle 4. Same side of the transversal, inside of the 2 lines. The last pairing of angles are your same side exterior. Same idea, only this time they're outside of the 2 lines. Same side exterior angles are exterior angles that lie on the same side of the transversal. When you're identifying these, the 2 lines do not have to be parallel. Sometimes they will be, sometimes they won't be. T, my transversal. If I want to make A and C a pair of same side exterior, now they have to go on the outside of the 2 lines. So if I put A over here, is outside to the right, C needs to be outside to the right because they're on the same side. So A and C, same side exterior angles. D and B, same side exterior angles. Outside of the two lines to the same side of the transversal. Abbreviation, SSE. Using your little picture in the top right corner. 8 and 6. You guys agree with her? And then 7 and 5. All right. Okay. Today we're going to focus on identifying these, being able to pick them out in pictures. Are they corresponding? Are they same side? Are they alternate? Tomorrow we will work more with them and what we can learn about them. Okay. We're going to skip the first entire example and you're going to number 2 at the bottom. Classify each pair of angles as alternate interior, same side interior, corresponding, or none. I have 4 lines in this picture. I'm going to name them. They're not named on your paper, but maybe you want to. A, B, C, and D. It just makes referring to them easier. Part A, they want us to classify angles 7 and 11. Obviously, you have to find them in the picture. Here's 7, here's 11. After you identify where they're at, you have to figure out which one of the lines is the transversal. The transversal will touch both angles. So I have lines A, B, C, and D. Which of those 4 lines touches both angles 7 and 11 at the same time? B. Okay, that's my transversal. Maybe you want to take your pencil and just make it a little darker, but not too darker because you're going to have to erase it in a little bit. But I'm going to highlight it in green. That's my transversal. The other 2 lines are the 2 lines that help form those angles. So angle 7 is formed by line B and line C. Angle 11 is formed by line B and line D. I'm focusing just on what's highlighted in marked. Ignore line A and those 8 angles. In relation to the transversal, angles 7 and 11, are they on the same side of the green line or opposite? Same side, they're both to the left. Are they inside of the 2 yellow lines or are they on the outside? Inside. So if they're inside and on the same side, what do we call them? Same side interior. SSI. No, not necessarily. When you write it like in a proof, Sarah, yes, but you don't have to here. Okay, B. Now we have to find 14 and 16. Got them. Then you have to figure out which line is the transversal. Which line would hit both of these? D. Good. D is the one line that hits both of these. I'm going to highlight mine in green again. You can kind of scroll through it or make it a little bolder. The other line that helps form angle 14 is line A. And the other line that forms angle 16 is line B. So we're focusing down here. Ignore the top 8 angles. In relation to the transversal, the green line, 14 and 16, same sides of the green line or alternate sides? Same side. They're both below it. Are 14 and 16 both inside of the 2 lines? No. Are they both on the outside? No, because 14's between them, right? So they're both below the transversal and to the right of the 2 lines. It's like they're in the same position. Louder. Good. These are corresponding angles. They're both in that bottom right corner of the intersection. These are your corresponding angles. For some reason, these are going to be the ones that are hardest to identify. All right. 4 and 10. After you find the angles, you have to find their transversal. And you have to remember the transversal is the line that touches both angles. There isn't none. There isn't none. There isn't one. Well, if I highlight line A, does that guy hit both 4 and 10? No. How about line B? Does he hit both of them? Is he touching angle 10? No. Is line C touching both of them? Is line D? So if there's no transversal, there's no classification. If there is no transversal, then you cannot classify them. I'm not going to disagree with some of you. They look like they should be corresponding. Mrs. Carroll, they're both in the top right corner. Correct. But there has to be a transversal. There's no line that touches both of them, then you can't classify them. Three and 6. Here's 3. Here's 6. Which line is its transversal? C. The two lines that help make them, A and B. Are they on the same side of the transversal or alternate? Alternate. Are they inside of the two lines or outside? Inside. So since they're alternate and inside, then we call them alternate interior angles. Okay. You have homework. It's online. That wouldn't work with me. Page 131, 1 through 8, 19 through 22.